One of the most chilling true crime stories in recent history is the case of the Golden State Killer, a predator whose reign of terror spanned over a decade, from the mid-1970s to 1986. His horrific crimes included burglaries, rapes, and murders that went unsolved for years until advancements in forensic science and a determined investigation finally brought justice decades later. The Reign of Terror. The Golden State Killer's crimes began in 1976 in Sacramento, California, when a serial rapist known as the East Area Rapist began terrorizing suburban neighborhoods. He would break into homes at night, tying up husbands while assaulting their wives. His patterns were methodical. He meticulously studied his victims beforehand, often making phone calls to them before the attacks, stalking their homes, and learning their routines. He even ate their food or stayed in the house for hours, instilling pure terror. What made this criminal even more terrifying was his escalation. By 1979, the rapes turned to murder. He began killing his victims, leaving behind grisly scenes that baffled investigators. His ability to evade law enforcement became almost legendary, as he left minimal clues behind and seemed to vanish into the night without a trace. Fear across California. His crimes spread across California, with attacks linked from Sacramento down to the Santa Barbara area and as far south as Orange County. His victims were diverse, ranging from young women to couples in their homes. The randomness of his attacks left Californians in fear. No one knew who would be next, and the police were always one step behind. For years, investigators struggled to connect the crimes due to jurisdictional differences, and it wasn't until 2001 that DNA evidence linked the East Area Rapist to another set of unsolved crimes committed by a killer known as the original Night Stalker. This realization expanded the scope of the investigation, as it became clear that a single predator was responsible for over 50 rapes and at least 13 murders across the state. The breakthrough. Despite his prolific and brutal crime spree, the Golden State Killer remained elusive, and his case grew cold. In the early 2000s, advancements in DNA technology and genealogy began to open new doors in criminal investigations. In 2018, a breakthrough came when investigators used genetic genealogy to trace DNA from a crime scene to relatives of the killer. This led them to Joseph James DeAngelo *, a former police officer living a quiet life in a suburban neighborhood. DeAngelo had served as a police officer during the time of his crimes, which explained his knowledge of law enforcement tactics and his ability to evade capture for so long. He was arrested in April 2018, and when confronted, he muttered cryptic apologies, seemingly acknowledging his guilt. Justice at last. DeAngelo's trial drew national attention, as victims and their families finally had the chance to confront the man who had stolen their sense of safety. In August 2020, Joseph DeAngelo pled guilty to multiple counts of murder and rape in a plea deal that spared him the death penalty but ensured that he would spend the rest of his life in prison. At the sentencing, many victims and their families spoke, recounting the horrors of the crimes and the deep scars left behind. DeAngelo, once a menacing figure who brought terror to countless lives, sat frail and emotionless, the weight of his heinous actions now fully revealed. A legacy of fear and resilience. The case of the Golden State Killer is a chilling reminder of the fragility of safety, but also of the resilience of those who survive such horrific events. It highlighted the power of DNA technology in solving cold cases, bringing justice to those who waited for decades. In the end, while DeAngelo's crimes were unspeakable, his capture was a triumph for modern science and a testament to the perseverance of law enforcement. Please like and subscribe and turn on the notifications button for more stories like this.